Well, holy shit. I actually managed to do it. After procrastinating for ages, I finally managed to produce an audiobook version of the Lunatic Fringe book. It's currently available on all Amazon sites, audible.com, and shortly on iTunes. And if you're the page-turning type, it's also, of course, still available in Kindle form, paperback, and hardback on Amazon. 10 hours and 10 years worth of Blue Skies Magazine's articles, all available to you right fucking now, including a few author's notes and even an apology or two. Enjoy.
In a world.
Mate, hold up. We said we're done with the serious intros.
Who said?
Well, we did.
I don't remember that.
Well, I said it, and you're me, so, you know.
Well, I don't care. In a world.
Hey, I told you. We're keeping it light.
You do it on your own then.
Well, technically, I already am. So, anyway. Fuck yeah. Pure wild flight. Get it down ya. How good? Visit nzaerosports.com.
I get to do the next one.
Well, obviously, you moron. We both do.
Of course, I absolutely love the NZ Aerosports business model. I mean, come on. One glance at an Icarus fuck yeah sticker and you know it lines up perfectly with the fucking pilot mentality. But outside their wonderful use of colorful language and a great company vibe, there's a long list of reasons to say NZ Aerosports fuck yeah. NZ Aerosports blows me away right out of the gate as a canopy manufacturer with a bold offer. They give you 10 jumps on your brand new nylon to decide if you want to keep it, swap it out, or even return it for a refund. I mean, seriously, how incredible is that? That's like getting halfway through a prom and deciding you prefer the slightly racier date that goes down faster. Seriously, they do that. If you're not madly in love with your new canopy after 10 jumps, they'll let you swap it out for another size or model, or even get your money back. And the range of canopies they've got? Man, they've got a style canopy to fit every jumper and every situation with models you know and trust, like the Sapphire 3, the perfect choice for the beginner or intermediate canopy pilot. The Crossfire 3, when you're ready to kick it up that elliptical notch. The JFX 2, if you're looking to up your new swoop game. The Leia as the workhorse and dirt water dirt beast. Or the Petra. The Petra cranks out crazy power and is nothing short of a record breaker. But hey, it's not always about speed either. Take the Kraken. Built as a low pack volume canopy specifically with wingsuiting in mind, she gives you all the performance you're looking for with the reliability you need that'll have you itching for that next formation, rodeo, or puffy cloud. So the equipment is top of the line kick-ass stuff as you already know, but how about the team? Well, the customer service gang is there to sort you out whenever you need them. Maddie and Beto are always there to help with Jen holding the reins. They're available for you at sales@nzaerosports.com, and they've got a kick-ass live chat tool on the website if you're wanting to hit someone up right away. These are the crew you're going to want to talk to get those custom orders in. With the stock nylon, once you know what you want, they'll have that shit on a FedEx truck as soon as the credit card machine says approved and get you in the air in no time. For your custom orders, you'll be able to get a time frame for building and shipping when you design it, so get to it. And demos. They've got demos in the US available from their partner Rock Sky Market. The whole US demo fleet is there with Sapphire 3, Crossfire 3, Kraken, JFX2, and Leia canopies in a range of sizes. They also offer student and tandem demos in the US. Bottom line, every step of the way, NZ Aerosports is there to get you what you need, and I personally couldn't be happier to be teamed up with them here on Lunatic Fringe. And now, time to get started with Lunatic Fringe Into the Void, brought to you proudly by NZ Aerosports. Fuck yeah!
Coming straight from the cockpit, it's another episode of Lunatic Fringe with the fucking pilot.
Ready, set, go! Back in the can for another edition of Lunatic Fringe Into the Void. And before we get started...
Cheers, mate.
Cheers. All right. Who the fuck are you? And what do you do?
I'm Jamie Webster. A lot of people know me as Big Dummy.
As Big Dummy?
Well, I'm big and dumb, man, so it's
All
pretty
right, fair enough. Fair enough. All right.
label on the tin kind of a situation.
All right.
I'm a professional skydiver by all definitions of the word.
So when you say professional skydiver, you're like what? Jack of all trades. You do a little bit of
A
everything.
little bit of everything, man.
And is it just work or is? I mean,
No, it's the hobby for sure.
so
It's living the dream.
it's the whole fucking bang, right? You're one of those lifestyle guys. Oh man,
Yeah.
I know because I got to pry you fucking guys away from the tunnel and work and fun jumping. You're one of the ones that's like always on the plane for the staff load.
For sure, man. 100%.
Assholes.
Yeah, but it's a 50-50 with the beer light going on. I like a beer just as much as anybody else.
Yeah, fair enough. I can feel you on that.
But beer's after the fun jump. for sure.
So, as is the regular with the podcast, we're going to jump you all the way back to the very beginning. How'd you get started in anything extreme? For me, I was jumping off my roof into trees as a stupid little kid. How did you get started?
I don't know, I suppose when... thank you.
Yeah,
I was like,
gotta keep the wine flowing, man.
get me talking. I suppose when I was about 14, 15, started doing like freestyle BMX. That kind of probably...
Oh, really?
The little switch happened where, you're at the top of a ramp and you probably know that you're going to hurt yourself when you drop in.
Sure.
And it's that mindset, like, all right, get the pump up song on and drop in and
Sure.
send or whatever flip or a tail whip or whatever.
That shit's, fucking intimidating. Big
Yeah,
time.
like I was not very any good either, so I broke more stuff than I landed. So
That's got to make it a little bit scarier when you know
when
I
you
suck
know
at
your
this.
when you know your shit.
I'm gonna do it anyway. Now, you were how old when you started this?
I'd probably say 14, and then the older you get, 15, 16.
Sure.
I think I had a moped at the time, and I would strap my BMX to the back of the moped and go to the skate parks or whatever and
Nice.
cruise around. But it was a cool period of my life, like you're starting to get the ropes of being a young teenager, and you're going on the trains, and you're going to these different kind of towns, only a couple of hours away from where you live, but
Sure.
you're getting a bit of a grasp on what's going on a bit. So,
Now, where was home?
Leicester in the UK.
Leicester in the UK.
Yeah.
So just hop on the railway and go do.
Yeah, that's it, man. We used to go to Birmingham. We used to go to Kettering and Corby. There's some cool places out there.
Nice. So you start out on the BMX things, kind of give you a taste of stupid things can be fun.
For sure, 100%.
And where does it go from there?
Probably just kind of going on whatever was fun. Like I got into motorbikes and went on ski holidays and just kind of always watched those videos of other people. And
Sure.
I was just
Yeah, that's
so
right.
into
You're the generation that got to grow up watching fucking videos.
for sure. And then I just see these guys flying down the mountain in these suits, and I'm like, what the fuck is that? And that looks pretty rad. And yeah,
That's kind of
it's kind of the
wow.
Well, and then I went on a ski holiday and I did a tandem paraglide with
Okay.
some guy. You've got them out and you ski off a little bit and it
Sure.
pulls it up. And I'm like cruising through the mountains, looking around. I'm like, wow, like being off the ground is sick. Like super into this. And a lot of my friends back home were kind of doing like tandem skydives for charity, when we were at school. And I'd seen these videos and I'd done this thing and I was like, I don't want to do one for charity, man. Like I want to
Do it for me.
I want to do it for me. I want to do, and I still have it. If you go on YouTube and you look why I skydive or something, it's like one of the highest. It's an absolute mashup of just some random dude skydiving. It's got loads of views. And looking back at it now with what I know, there's definitely some bits that it's a bit loose or whatever.
Sure.
But you look at it, you had no idea at the beginning.
Sure. Well, hindsight's always 20/20,
Yeah.
right? I mean, I look back at the original Point Break video, which for my generation of skydivers was like the linchpin for all of us. That's what started all of us off. And now you just look back at it and go, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I mean, the skydiving scenes are still a lot of fun, but we make fun of them because they're so unrealistic and so unhinged. But it's funny when you get to look back at shit like that.
Yeah, for sure, man.
So, and I've talked about people that kind of got started the way you apparently did to a number of people because it's the YouTube generation now, right? And the topic has come up a bunch of times on the podcast of people that got started because they saw people doing shit that were next level on YouTube. So you're pulling up videos and deciding, I want to go do that, and you're seeing the most extreme of the extreme.
I've seen it from both sides. I was that guy, and then I've also been the AFF instructor when some guy comes to the drop zone and goes, "Yeah, I want to do wingsuit base jumping," and I'm just like, "Fuck this guy, man!" Like,
Right.
I never was really kind of like, well, I've been jumping 8 years, and I never done a wingsuit and never done a base jump.
Sure.
So like, I still love that shit, but
Well,
I've gone full circle on the thing, you know.
that's part of getting your start in something and then realizing, oh, there's a lot more to this than just. I mean, the guys that are doing that shit is something else.
Yeah, for do a short, man.
It really
Like,
is.
especially where we're at now. There's a lot of guys that are leading the way with that.
Which is over the top.
Yeah, for sure.
So first jump.
First jump didn't go so great. Maybe I should have done a tandem first. I don't know.
Oh, you did an AFF first.
I did an AFF first. I did my ground school. And obviously anything in the UK is like, you do your ground school on the Friday and then fingers crossed for good weather on the weekend.
Right.
Oh, well,
It's the UK.
It's like, yeah. So I think it took me 7 months to finish the whole thing with going back to the first one. Like, did the ground school, kind of had a grips on it. Got in the plane and just jumped, no arch, no nothing.
Really?
One instructor pings off, the other one's clinging on for his life, spinning around on his back and gets me round, and he's like, check the altitude. I'm like, sweet, look, it's 6,000 feet, and my brain's like, okay, cool, 6,000, wave off. I'm like, I never looked at an altimeter before, ever. You know what I mean? Like, I never seen how fast it goes down. Like, fuck, I only just jumped out. I looked at it again, and like, now they're showing me the pull sign, and just the brain is like, I understand the visuals, but I just can't connect the dots to do it.
Right.
And I reach back for it, and I already know that it's already out, and I'm like, fuck, it just definitely, like, come down, and they're like, yeah, dude, like, that was pretty shit, like, maybe skydiving's not for you. But if you listen to this, Chris Cox, well, it is, so suck on it.
Nice. So, I mean, you're kind of, the student that scares the shit out of me walking in the door anyway, because you're, in U.S. terms, you're what, like 6'5"?
Yeah, I'd be 6'5" and a bit, maybe.
6'5" and a bit.
If you're a hottie, I'm 6'6", but if
See,
you know,
there you
me
go.
and you talking, I'm
Fuck
6'5"
off,
and a bit.
man. If you're a hottie, I'm 5'10". Jesus Christ. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
you're a nightmare as soon as you walk in the door.
Yeah,
I'm
for
like,
sure, man.
I know I'm going to get that guy.
And we're jumping out of the pack, so it's got like a bit of a lower door. At the time, I got no idea what it's a plane. It's a white plane.
Yeah, and it was probably a small one compared.
Yeah, it's got like the low, you know, Pack 750. It's got
many hours in it.
got a low door at the back, really, for my size. And looking back, a Twin Otter or a Dornier or something would have been mega.
Sure.
Not so great, so yeah.
Well, it sounds to me like you fucked up your first jump so bad it wouldn't have mattered if
I
it
did,
was a
man, but
182.
that was the only thing that I'd that I cooked, shall we say, on the AFF.
You land on the first jump and they tell you maybe it's not for you. What got you to sign up for the second jump?
That was the first re-jump of the first one, but
Yeah.
I was like, nah, man, I want this. You know, I don't know. Some people have it and some people don't.
That's what it
have
boils down to, though, right? I mean, it's fucking desire, because you can be scared shitless, but if it's something you want, you're going to make it happen.
For sure. And yeah, I really wanted it, and there we go.
What do you think was what was the switch? How'd you turn on the headlights, so to speak, in free fall for the second one?
Just having a understanding, or like, actually, hey, now I've done one.
Yeah.
At the beginning, it's like every time you take someone for a tandem, it's like the fear of the unknown. You got no idea really what's going on, or you have no idea.
Sure.
And now I had an idea, and I was like, okay, cool, right, I get it a little bit more, and that's why maybe I should have done a tandem. Some people were saying, oh, you didn't do a tandem, or whatever.
Sure.
Yeah, it would maybe have been, and actually, I quite like the progression with you take them for the first jump as a tandem.
Yeah.
Biggest thing, they got the canopy there, it opens up, for that thing, they're looking at the altimeter. I was like, hey man, like when I take you on this tandem, look at the altimeter, look how slow it's going down. Like get a visual for that, because when we go for our own jump, you can't just look at it for 10, 15 seconds, and
Sure.
you got to be doing other shit. And the parachute, I think, is the biggest thing. You can fly around and like, look, man, this is the landing area for a start. That's where we're landing.
Sure.
Like in England, it's all fields and shit, and
Right.
you open up and you're flying downwind, or you don't know where you're going, or it's...
Sure.
I think these things, when you've got experience and you kind of take it for granted, you jump every single day and you build this sort of awareness up and this kind of thing,
Absolutely.
you kind of forget that these people that come have zero, like absolutely nothing. Do you know what I mean? It's not like they just watch this and they get it.
Sure.
Like they have to either do it or you have to tell them or like.
Well,
and
they watched fucking people like our friend Nick jumping off the Burj Khalifa
yeah.
with Matt. For fucks, that's what they watched. I mean, nowadays the exposure to skydiving and air sports for most people in the YouTube generation is not somebody on a tandem. It's somebody just fucking going balls out.
For sure.
So they really don't have any idea
Nah.
what's coming.
And the amount of time and training and dedication it takes to get to these.
Yeah.
And even if, I think I have as much time and dedication as most.
Sure.
Not all.
Sure.
There's always more than, but
Of course.
I'm still dedicated and I push. But, you just get to a point where it's like, okay, doesn't matter how much I do it, I'm still not going to get to the level of some people. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it doesn't matter how much time and money, my always thing is like, skydiving is time and money. You have lots of money and you can just splash it out, or you have more time and it takes you 20 years to learn the same thing. But I feel like sometimes you meet people and you're like,
there are people that are next
a
level.
Beast.
Yeah, there's
You
people that
a
are next
beast,
level
man.
because, I think time and jump time and jump numbers will get any skydiver at least to a certain point. Everybody's going to reach at least a certain level of proficiency and go out and be a, quote, good skydiver or even a great skydiver. But the leap between great and fucking next level ninja is huge.
Yeah, for sure.
And I personally don't think it's a trainable thing.
No. Like you meet some people and you teach them it, and in 2 seconds they've got it. You teach the same people in it, and I wasn't one of the people that got it in 2 seconds.
Sure.
I also wasn't the one that took 5,000.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I'm somewhere in the middle, but these people, they are.
Oh, next level.
Yeah, and then that's where it's going. That's where the sport's going with those guys.
I was lucky in that I picked it up quite quickly, but my whole experience level and ninja level is capped. Like I have this one area that I'm from A to Z. I'm gonna fit in this area, and I learned quick, but I'm never gonna learn some of this extra shit. And I figured that out actually watching a guy you probably know named Raph fly in the fucking wind tunnel.
Yeah.
And I'm watching him do shit in the tunnel, and I can't visibly see any changes in his body position. But the shit that is happening to his body is insane.
Yeah.
And it's like he's probably moving a heel or his little fucking finger, and he's just done all
And he's everywhere.
right. And you can't teach that. Like that's not something you can break down. I can't teach you how to do a triple fucking layout while out face carving, whatever. By the way, I have no idea what I just said.
No, you know some things.
know-
throwing down the technical jargon.
Yeah. I can't. You can't fucking teach that like you could teach an arch.
Yeah.
You can't break that down. It's a matter of trial and error, right?
But you have these guys like that. And I know a guy when I was in Mexico. His name's Sebas Garcia, and he was like fly for life, top group, 500, only 500 jumps, not really that much tunnel, just a complete natural, like, just got it, really body aware, very good balance, like, studying the videos and watching, and he's got a job and going and flying with Raf.
Right.
And he's only there 1 year, and you see them two in the tunnel, and you can't tell who's who. You know what I mean? And it's it's so there's always gonna be somebody better coming, and he'll probably be king in 10 years, and then there's gonna be someone else come through, and it's gonna be like yeah.
Well, that was like, and I've brought him up often on the podcast and had him on a couple of times as well. A good friend of mine named Ray Kubiak, who is one of the OG tunnel ninjas. And I still get to say my claim to fame is that I taught Ray how to fly. Because I was an instructor at the Flyaway Tunnel in Vegas when Ray came to fly, and he was bar none the worst fucking student I ever had. He was just slightly shorter than you and stiff as a fucking board. And in the Vegas tunnel, you actually have dead air in between the net and the wall. And he would just fucking slam into the wall all day long. There's no way this guy is going to learn how to fly. And he's an employee of the tunnel, by the way, at this point. And then I blink, and the guy's one of the greatest flyers on the planet.
Yeah.
You know, it just bam. And he did not take to it naturally. And then all of a sudden, he's like the guy. And now he's talking to me on the podcast going, these fucking kids, man.
Yeah.
They're destroying me. I don't know how to do it. So it's great.
I think also right place, right time.
Sure.
You know, it comes on like, you know, even Middle East, Dubai, Maktoum
Yeah.
stuff. You know, like who else is getting paid to do 10 fun jumps with your boys for years on end?
Yeah.
Like, if you don't come out at the end of that, pretty fucking good, then what have you been doing with your time?
Oh yeah, man. I remember
not taking away from anything of those guys, but you know what I mean? Like, that is an opportunity of a fucking lifetime.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I
It's
mean? Like,
opportunity. Well, I remember flying Maktoum and them just going out and going, all right, we're going to jump with a fucking 10-foot long bungee cord and see what happens. What? Well, yeah, because we're trying to come up with different shit. And off they would go. And, I mean, who gets to do that kind of stuff? I mean, that's some
not me.
That's some rare air.
Not me, man.
So you make it through AFF in arguably one of the weather-wise more difficult places to learn.
Yeah, for sure.
It's kind of tough to get a good start in skydiving when you're in the UK.
Yeah, and I also like going back from traveling, going back to the UK scene. It's a bit of a different vibe. It's a lot of military kind of background to it.
Sure.
So, I don't know. I don't think anybody likes coming out and hanging out on your spare time and people shouting at you. You're probably having people shouting at you all week at work. I don't want to spend my spare time with fucking someone shouting at me.
Right.
You know? So there's a kind of that stigma to it, shall we say. And I think a lot of people have the interest and the curiosity to give it a go.
Sure.
The retention rate, I would probably say, is quite low. Like trying to keep people interested, and you either want it. People either want it, or you don't want it.
Yeah.
I actually, Tim Jones was one of the people. I learned at the same drop zone as him in 40 and whatever. Like that was the drop zone in Hinton and Milton Keynes.
Timmy two-time.
And like, I remember just like I'm standing there in my student suit that's obviously too short, doesn't fit, with my Pro Tech on, with the fucking radio on the side, like walking to the plane with my 260 on. And there's fucking, who's this guy with this burgundy vertical suit with the Tom Fly, with the chest strap undone, just sunglasses, just walking past me. I'm like, fuck, that guy's cool. And then, you know, his group of friends, they were just all the geezers. They were just the boys, you know. They were just they were just a hoot. Right. You know what I mean? They were just, and I just sat there at the back of the plane and I watched them doing six-way angles. I had no idea about anything at this point.
Of course.
They could have been shit as fuck. As soon as they left the plane, who knows how good they were.
Sure.
But all I saw from my eyes was these guys just having the time.
Right.
Being in the right group of friends and just loving it.
Yeah.
And I was like, I want to be there. I don't care what it takes, but I want to be not to this extent that guy, but
sure.
I want to be my version of that guy.
Yeah.
In this environment and just the fun and it just looked the freedom, the fun, the community, everything. Just beers after by the fire, just you know what I'm talking about. Whole shit. And I was like, boom, I'm in, I'm hooked.
Yeah.
And I hadn't even done, you know, I'd done 8 jumps at this point, and I was like, boom, that's it, that's me, you know.
Yeah, well, I mean, let's face it, when it comes to cool factor, it's tough to beat something like skydiving. I mean, it's very rarefied air, so to speak, in regard to sports. And you get to the drop zone, and the jumpers that have been doing it even for a little while have an air of confidence about them.
Yeah.
Which skydiving is a sport of fucking man crushes, right? You're like, oh, that guy is so fucking cool. Oh my God, he looks great in this and that and the other. All the shit you would never say outside of skydiving. You're like, damn, he looks really good in that fucking jumpsuit. And you're thinking,
I know they're going a bit tight for me, man. I'm not got much to show. It's a bit cold out here, and I'm a grower, man.
Well, I fucking joked around when the skin tight tunnel suit started coming around. I'm like, that's fucking why I'm never going to be flying in the tunnel like that. Because fuck that shit. But all right, so the vibe kept you. But how do you start racking up jump numbers enough to? One
of the guys that I met on the drop zone, he was my packer. His name's Keith. And he talked about this skydive school in New Zealand or whatever, just in passing or whatever. Like, it's one thing to make friends at the drop zone, but I was always on the fringes of the group, because they were jumping together. They were doing, I was cool and we hung out and we were friends, but I was never really like,
Sure.
I'm doing my fucking solo belly out the back and the boys are doing
Right.
6-way free fly jumps.
Right.
You kind of like, whatever, but we kind of hang out and we're talking more, and I keep seeing these ads in the back of the BPA mag of like this skydive school in New Zealand or whatever. And I was doing an apprenticeship at the time. I was doing a welding apprenticeship, and I spent all my times looking at this calendar in the welding bay. Sometimes I go to work 10 hours, and it'd be dark when I go to work, and then when I come out of work, it's dark. I've been in a factory in a welding bay no bigger than what we're in now.
Jesus.
Just welding 1,000 of these away, or drilling some holes, or just whatever it was. And my apprenticeship was coming up, and I was like, dude, I want out of this. I'm looking at this picture, I'm going, I want this. I want these guys.
Right.
And I had the taste from the drop zone. I don't know how long it was. I think I was probably jumping for about 18 months before the end of my apprenticeship. And then when it came up, I was like, dude, I'm gonna risk it. I'm gonna put all my eggs in this basket.
Nice.
And I'm gonna send it. I was still living at home with my parents and shit. So it was kind of a big leap to not only move out but move to New Zealand.
Sure.
So it's like,
to go
all
jump
right,
out of
let's
airplanes.
go. Yeah, for sure. And just like fully immerse I knew exactly what I wanted. And do you honestly, like, whoever's listening to this that's been to it or had any like interactions with the school, it's kind of got like a 50-50 like rep on it. Do you know what I mean? And it's hard. Like a lot of people that go there or have different experience. I cannot say anything bad about my experience. My experience was, it was sick. I just moved across the world and I lived in a house with almost 20 skydivers, and all we did in the day was skydive, and then we drank beers at night and we hung out and we played games.
Sure.
And do you know what I mean? It was just like, it was the sickest time, man. But I had the goal and I knew it. The people that went there with 0 skydives, I went there with 100 and something skydives.
Sure.
I was I knew I was a small fish.
You were the cool guy.
Not a cool guy, because they staggered the courses. So I turned up with the overlap of the course before me. So I turned up with the same amount of jumps as the course before me. So I just slotted into their group.
Okay.
So I wasn't really with my intake.
Sure.
And then when they left, then I became like back with my group, or I jumped with a few of like the camera guys or whatever.
Right.
But these people that like been grown in this like incubator kind of, they're walking around by big bollocks. I've got 100 jumps, and like when they get set off into the wild, then obviously can sometimes bring a bit of bad rep. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know if you've ever met anybody.
I've worked with one.
Some people and whatever.
I was actually jumping for Ballistic Blondes, was an operation out of Paihia.
Oh, with Davey.
Yeah, Davey and Kelly. So I worked for them for a season, and we were jumping in the Bay of Islands. So I was jumping and landing on the beach in Paihia, and we'd go up to Whangarei and jump, and they got a packer that had gone through the school. And, of course, he's a jumper. He's been trained to do all the shit that the school certifies you to do, and turns up to a bunch of salty tandem instructors, because I'm doing tandems. My buddy Paul is doing tandems. Dave Cicerelli's doing tandems. All of us had probably, I want to say 7,000-8,000 tandems by that time. We're all in our fucking 40s. None of us give a shit. We're in New Zealand to have some fucking fun, and this kid shows up from a skydiving school that we'd never heard of.
Yeah, for sure.
With an attitude. And
with a diploma in commercial skydiving.
Yeah, he's got a diploma. Exactly. So he shows up with that, and you can imagine.
Yeah, dude, I was one of them.
What these 3 fucking American pricks just tortured this kid, and Adam was a great sport about it, and he did really good and everything. And I honestly haven't kept up with him over the years, but I remember thinking more than a few times, "Fuck, I bet he wishes he ended up anywhere with us."
Yeah, for sure. And but part of it is that at the end of it, like whatever, they taught you how to pack. They taught it's these things that you can't look over. You immerse yourself into this sport, regardless of what the school was or what it's become or whatever. But just the simple fact of like, okay, this one thing that you're doing maybe once a week or 3 times a month, Now all of a sudden you're doing it every day.
Sure.
That is exponential in your learning.
Yeah.
Like you cannot overlook that. And yeah, and I can't say for that reason, like that was the leap, you know. For sure, maybe if I'd had that money, spent it on jumps, or maybe I'd have been a better jumper at the same time. But I'm basically paying them to teach me the shit. No one wants to fucking teach people, oh, this is the running and these are the wins. And who wants to sit down? Like, I've just done 10 tandems. I don't want to sit down and talk to all these guys to do it. So that's it. And it serves its purpose, and I get it. I totally get it. But and I feel bad also for the people that I was on the course with, you know, because they get brought up in this like school environment, and they get sent out to, you know, most of them were like the big commercial drop zones, like your end zone or in down in Queenstown, or like all this stuff. So like they go in from like this school thing straight to the corporate company, boom, boom, boom. Where's the fun jumps? Where's the zoo dives? Where's the beers after? Do you know what I mean? There's this whole element of like boogies do you know? I'm going to a boogie. What's a boogie? I'm how the fuck have you got to 2,000 jumps and you don't know what a boogie is?
Right.
Like,
right. Yeah, absolutely.
you should go to a boogie. It's gonna blow your mind.
Absolutely. You don't know what skydiving is. You just jump out of airplanes.
Yeah, and it's because then this breed of commercial skydiver comes out, and it's a job, and it's like when the corona happened, I was out in New Zealand. Like, we'll come back to the progression of where I went. But you know, when corona hit, I was in New Zealand, and okay, boom. No Chinese, or the borders are closed, and okay, now our jumps are going from 10 a day, 15 a day to 1 a day, 0 a day, and like, okay, cool. Well, I don't have a job anymore. What's going on? And then, you know, people are like, I'm sending my mum, like, Mum, can you send me my welding certificates out? Email me welding certificates, and I needed it, like, and I was just like, no, I want this.
Right.
I'm not gonna go back to that shit. And I moved to Germany. You know, I moved to Berlin. Another risk, but like, I can't give it up. I'm gonna do it. And so many of my mates that were there, they were being a postman, or they went back on the tools, and I was like, good luck with that, boys, but it ain't for me.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, Corona was it was a real kick in the balls for a lot of people. Yeah,
for sure, man.
But especially to be at the time in your career where you're getting there. You know, you're finally getting there. You're making that headway, and then all of a sudden the fucking rug gets pulled out from under you.
Yeah.
I mean, when Corona hit, I got to admit, my first thought was, oh, thank fuck.
Yeah.
I need a break.
You need a break. To be fair, I didn't actually have a bad time. You know, I kept looking at my friends on Facebook, and like, you know, they were moaning about these lockdowns. Like, I went from New Zealand where I had maybe 6 weeks lockdown, like, you know, when it all first came out.
Yeah.
I lost the job I was supposed to go to Thailand and go to there. And then when it all hit, they were like, boom, that's not happening. So I just kind of hunkered down until the end of my visa, and then it was coming up, and I was like, I made the risk, went to Germany. The rules there weren't super strict, other than the fact that you couldn't have any skin showing, which for me was super retarded. Like, this virus that you can catch. Now I'm not allowed to wear shorts and t-shirt to jump in 35-degree heat. I have to wear long pants and long sleeve. So just dying, like, I'm like, whatever. But, you know, kept jumping. You know, I probably saved just as much money in 5 months there as I did in a year in New Zealand.
Sure.
Like, with the euro getting paid. And then I went to Mexico, where they welcomed me with open arms.
Sure.
And it was like this whole thing wasn't even happening out there, and it was amazing. It was a breath of fresh air, you know, after almost a year of the bullshit.
Well,
you know?
That's one of the great things about skydiving as a worldwide community is once you've reached a certain level, you've got a job for life.
Yeah, for sure.
You really do. You know, unless you become a pariah, unless you become known as that guy not to fucking hire, and those reputations do follow people.
Yeah.
But if you're not that guy or girl, you have a job anywhere in the world. I mean, I was lucky enough to get a job chucking drogues with Ballistic Blondes because I just wanted to get out of the airplane for a winter, and I knew the right people. And it was a telephone call. I got a gig in Fiji because I knew a guy. And they didn't ask for, he's licensed, he's got to, fucking send him our way. Because I knew the right guy.
For sure, man. And it's not just the job, it's the sofa to crash on. You know, it's the people too. You can't just burn jobs. Sometimes you burn jobs just because is what it is. Big
Sure.
personalities, whatever. But you can't be burning
Well,
friends and burning people too.
We are a
you know,
bunch of fucking alphas.
I don't know. I'd like to think I'm not an alpha, to be honest with you. I'd rather just let someone else take the reins.
All right,
and I'd just
all right,
cruise at the back. Easy life, man.
Let's say there's. I think skydivers are all alphas, but I think there's degrees. So it sounds to me like you're on the lower scale of alpha. But you have to be an alpha to do what we do. I mean, you take a human being's life in your hands how many times a day? You got to be boss, and you have to know that you can fucking do this.
Yeah.
That's alpha.
Oh, yeah.
You're not going to get some, I'm not sure if this is going to work out.
Yeah, definitely. But I think that just comes from the I don't know. The risk is always there. I listened to your podcast before and it was like, it's so safe now. It's like, the gear and whatever. We've got to the safest point skydiving's ever been. But the ultimate risk is still there. We're still jumping out of an airplane. Shit can go wrong, whatever.
People die.
Yeah, and it's like, you strap these people to you and it's like, my mindset and how I deal with it every day is that as long as I attach them to me, I am looking out for number one. I am looking out for myself at this point.
That always used to be my joke with all my students that would get really nervous. Is one of the jokes that I would use to calm them down would be to say, everybody has dinner, or everybody eats dinner and we haven't even gotten to lunch yet. And you're attached to me, and I'm gonna have fucking dinner. So we're good,
But those things are comforting. People was like, oh yeah, shit. Actually, this guy does it every day, and he's planning on doing 5 more after this.
I have no desire to die. But then again, I was also very blunt, and I just talked to Tiana. Was the last interview that I did, and we talked about, people will always ask the question, does anything ever go wrong? Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Do people die? Yes. I've never lied to a student. I've had students look me in the eyes. So there's you could die, but we couldn't get killed, could we? Yes, we could absolutely die on what we're about to do. Let's go have some fun.
Yeah. I try and die. I don't really try and, with the tandems, I don't really go for that approach. I don't really go, yeah, dude, like double shacks. But my students, I don't try and scare them, but I want to give them like, do you have actions, reactions? This we have to respect this. As long as we respect it, even just for like anybody, you might have 20,000 jumps. As soon as you do not respect it anymore, like
it's gonna bite you.
Yeah, for sure, man. Like this there, and I've had my fair share of. I don't know how many lives I've got left. To be honest, I got a few. Sure. I think I've probably used 3 of them. 3 lives. I'm like. Lives, and you being the pilot would like one of them.
Please, by all means, don't fucking. They hear me talk enough. Please tell me, especially about the pilot shit.
Well, like I passed my tandem rating, and then with the company I was working for was like down south. It's nice in the summer, and then in the winter, obviously it's shit. So you can move further up north.
Right.
So my friends had moved, and they were the drop zone owners, and they're like, cool, like. We've got this slot for you. Come and just do a little fill-in for us while we find someone, and into warmer pastures, and like beach landings and backpacker town and like, you know what I mean? Like, there's one thing being an instructor in the middle of nowhere and you live in
BFE,
yeah.
I've done it.
And then there's when you're an instructor and you live in a backpacker town and you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. You enjoy it.
Yeah. And so, I was like, yeah, I'm totally down. I'm cool. I got 130 tandems all out of the caravan. I would like to think that I'm not a complete retard of what I'm doing. I'm still obviously completely inexperienced.
Sure.
But, it's a crazy trip when you think about it. Somebody has to be the first one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't think people get it when they go, I'm going to go do a tandem. It's like, yeah, but you do realize that this guy could have only done 10, and you are number 11. But he is legally allowed to do that.
Yes.
Somebody has to be. It's a weird thing to, 1, think about, 2, experience for yourself.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Go through the journey of that. But anyway, I go to this place, and I got 130 tandems, doing them out of the 182. So I'm a big dude, and I don't really particularly like the 182.
Sure.
Didn't have a skydiver step on it. It just has the little one, same as the pilot, no bigger than your phone.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, cruising to this jump, and this girl I'm taking, she's not quite a weight charge, which was 95 kilos, so she's a 92 or something like that. So a woman being 92 kilos is a bit of a turnip.
A bit?
Bit wide on the hips, and I wasn't super flash at the landings just yet into the sand. You know, doing landings on grass is completely different to doing landings on soft sand.
Oh yeah.
Like you can't just use your feet because they just jackknife in, and you're getting a face full of the sand. You know, so I wasn't too flash just yet. You know, I had probably 30 on the sand. And one of the guys, you know, like looking back at it, probably bad information, whatever, like. Dude, just leave the harness a little bit loose on the back, and then like when the canopy opens, you can get her legs up, move it down towards the back of the knees or whatever.
Sure, turn it into a seat.
Yeah, so I was like, cool. So I'd kind of done that and like got her in the plane, and I'm scooting back, and the guy's gone before me. I'm last out. I was scooting her to the back, and then get my leg out, and then she gets her legs out, and I'm trying to get my other leg out, and I've got my left foot on the wheel, and I'm doing the splits, and she kind of sags down a little bit, and the pilot's shouting, dude, it's 3 miles past or whatever, like, get out, you know, you're taking a long time, and I'm like, okay, whatever, quick shackers, camera, and straight over the front, to then be met with swinging straight back underneath, and I've just got my feet planted on the underside of the 182, you know, like the Y-mod is caught. Now I know, but the Y-mod is caught on this step.
Oh my fucking God.
So it's a pretty gut-wrenching feeling that when you send it out and you expect to fall off and then you don't, like, I tell you, it's a pretty different feeling, man.
Holy shit.
So yeah, I'm there, and like, I'd heard about these things, you know, from hanging out at the drop zone and hanging out for beers. Like you hear stories, whatever, and like and I was like, shit, I bet I'm caught on this fucking Y-mod, and then I'm like, all right, like, and all I, you know, just remember the noise, and I'm like, hey, what's happening? What am I doing? Okay, cool, get the knife out, the knife out. So I reach in and get the knife out, and I remember just looking at the knife, and I was like, don't fucking drop this knife, dude. Like this, do you know what I mean? For someone with 130 tandems to like, once you like half the time, you've never even seen what this knife is.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's just on the back of the harness.
Yeah.
And then when you get it out, like, shh,
it's massive.
It's like, don't drop this fucking knife, dude. And I'm like, right, okay, cool. And the pilot's only got 300 hours, so super fresh. First skydiving job, you know. And obviously 200 and something kilos has just gone out the door, and then so he's trying to keep the plane straight, and then he's actively trying to shake us off, but because of the shape of what we caught on, it's like a cross, you know. So
right.
What's this? Is this your? What's that?
Yeah. So he's probably yawing and banking back and forth.
Yeah, but he's trying to get it off, and it's just not. It's not going to physically possible to get us off because we're loaded on it.
Sure.
You know? And I'm just thinking down there, and I'm like, dude, like I wish, you know, it's all going a million miles an hour, dude. I can't imagine going on. We're obviously swinging around underneath the plane when he's doing all these things. And like, man, like honestly, man, like we laugh now, but it's like I honestly didn't know if I put my arm out, if I would lose my arm in the propeller. Do you know what I mean? Because all I could hear was when I was swinging and just the noise of the propeller being closer.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't even know. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, if I do this, like, am I just going to lose my arm? Or, like, I don't know. Whatever. It's all going, but the whole thing in my brain was just, get off the plane. Okay, cool. Pilot kind of does like a little 0G. Okay, cool. He does another one, and I kind of swing up high enough that I get my arm over the strut. I'm like, yes, I'm out, dude. I'm out of here. I'm just going to do a one-arm pull-up with 200 kilos on. Everybody says that when you're adrenaline and you're super jacked up, you know. No, you can't. You shit, dude. I was like, ooh, nah, nothing. And I tell you, that was like one of the worst feelings of this whole experience. And one of them in my life, you know, is that I let go of that bar because I was tired. Out of 10 seconds, I was completely drained. Oh, yeah. So drained. I tried with everything I had to pull myself up, and I was completely done, you know. And for me to let go of that,
Yeah.
Not, you know what I mean? Like, I thought I was going to get up. I was
Sure.
like, cool, I'm just going to climb back up. Like, and then for you to kind of get there and realize that that's not actually physically possible,
All right.
to let go again, I was like,
Fuck.
do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so I let go, but the pilot this whole time has been looking out the window, seen me have a go at it. He's like, okay, cool. Does another one. Big enough that, you know, that I swing up. You know, like this whole time, like when you look back, because I have the handycam footage, you know, like
Right.
one day I'll show you this footage, man, because you're my friend and you're
I'm
a
gonna fucking
pilot.
wanna see
Yeah,
it.
you want to see it because it's out there, you know,
Sure.
and like so many the Swiss cheeses. There's so many Swiss cheeses that came into
Sure.
why this happened, but them same Swiss cheeses were how I got off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you look at it, what did any of the gear come out? Did the drogue come out? Did the reserve pin pop? When he's doing the neggies, does my head, because I'm big, man, like if he does a big
Sure.
one, my head's going to split the back of the wing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I got no helmet on, I'm just jumping with sunglasses. Like,
Sure.
Everything, the
Oh, believe me, I've already run through at least a dozen different ways that should have all gone horribly wrong.
yeah, for sure, man. And it should have, 100%. And so many people have done it before me, and there'll be more after me. You know, there's already been more after me. But anyway, he does this little neggy, and I'll never forget it, man. I could see it clear as day now that he does this neggy, and I get that 0G, and I just pop up enough that I look back in the plane, and I'm looking at him, and he's flying the plane, looking at me. Just for that split second, you know, and then I swing back underneath, and it was like,
Oh my lord.
and then I'm like, cool, man, like, I can get out of this. I can get back in the plane. If he does another one of them, like, I'm back in the door. I'm
Right.
going back for the door, man. He does another one, and like, I had my arm back in. I think it just took enough weight off the harness because
Sure.
I didn't get back in the door, but it just took enough weight off that when he pulled up, it was the most stable 182 exit you've ever seen in your life, dude. Came off down the hill, through the drogue, couple of shackers. Ew, it's your boy.
We're not gonna die. This is the greatest skydive ever.
Greatest skydive I've looked down, and we're 3 miles out over the ocean. I'm like, cool, we're landing in the water. Just like, opened at 7.5, and I was like, dude, I'll tell you, it's the longest 1 minute and 20 seconds of my life.
I fucking bet.
For sure, yeah.
I fucking
Yeah,
bet.
yeah, yeah.
Well, I
No
mean, as an instructor, you're, especially by the time that you get to being a tandem instructor, you have ingrained in you enough of a survival instinct
Yeah.
to know you're going to do what you got to do, and you're trying to puzzle things out. I gotta give credit to this 300-hour pilot.
The pilot,
you're talking
Billy
about.
Murgatroyd, if you listen to this, thank you so much. And I
Billy
would love
boy,
to have a beer with you again, mate,
For
sometime
you
soon.
to think clearly enough at 300 hours
Yeah,
to
for
start
sure.
doing 0 Gs to try and get them off and realize what the situation was, dude, that's fucking epic.
Yeah, dude, and don't get me wrong, he got a seafood dinner and a beer when we got to the...
He should have got a fucking blowjob for that shit.
To be fair, man, I would have gave it to him.
Holy shit, man! I mean, no. I mean, really, hats off. That's some really sharp thinking for such a low
Yeah,
time
dude.
pilot.
Yeah, dude.
Because you can equate a 300-hour pilot to a 50 jump skydiver. You know,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
enough to fuck it up really bad.
100%, man. Like, he kept his head. He did enough without doing too much. That's what I said about the neg. If he'd just done a massive one,
Oh yeah,
like, that'd have been it.
Yeah,
That'd have been me. Like,
yeah. You would have been
head open
unconscious
on the
and yeah.
thing.
You know what? My first
Yeah.
flash was if the drogue had come out.
The drogue, or yeah.
Well, if the drogue had come out, that plane's coming out of the sky. It's
Or
a
even
done
if
deal.
she's like, to be fair, like, I didn't mean to hold the camera in her face the whole time, but you know, you're trying to like keep her arms in, so the camera's kind of pointed her way for a little bit, and you know, like, you know, she's crying and she thinks she's gonna die, whatever, and it's like, it's a little bit heavy, man. It's like
very
whoa.
heavy.
And like, you know, I landed from it, and I was like, I felt completely helpless that whole time. I didn't actually really do anything. You know, I got the
Sure.
knife out, and I was like, I would have felt much better about it if I'd have cut the knife or
Sure.
if I cut the harness. Like, not heroic, but like, it was completely my fuck up. I put us in that situation. It was
Sure.
my, not negligence, because, or borderline negligence, could you say? I don't know. Like,
inexperience is what
yeah.
I would call it.
for sure. And like, yeah.
But I mean,
But to get the knife, sorry, man, it's like, to get the knife out and then to do it, but then not to do it. And, you know, basically, that's what I'm saying. Like, Billy saved mine and that girl's
Sure.
life, you know, for sure. Like,
Well, I mean, hats off to him for that, but hats off to you for, I mean, clearly you had a as they call it, a come to Jesus moment. You had to sit down on the ground at some point and go, can I go back up?
yeah, well,
That's not a fucking easy choice after something like that.
that was like I landed and I actually wanted to puke. Not only because the harness had been cutting me pretty hard in the legs,
Sure.
and we'd been under the canopy from 7,500 feet,
Sure.
flying back, trying to make it back to the beach. So when I landed on the beach after about a 10-minute canopy ride, like I just took one breath out, and I could have puked, to be honest, and I could have puked, and I was like, and I was so I mean, like 130 tandem, so like, I'm still fresh as, still learning a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I thought, oh yeah, we can't jump again because you've bent the brake hose, and I was like, yeah, good.
Right. Right.
But same thing, if the brake hose would come out and like so much shit, man. Like Swiss cheese in, Swiss cheese out.
I
You know?
mean, my lord. I mean, my big do I still want to be a jumper was I had a cutaway at 25 jumps and broke my leg at 27. Those were my big moments, and neither one of those were going to fucking kill me.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
certainly not take a plane out of the sky. So
Yeah, for sure, man.
You must have had to have a conversation with yourself.
Yeah, well, it's more the conversation after, to be honest with you.
That's what I
like,
mean,
not
yeah.
not even just like straight after. Straight after is easy. You're like, just get me the rig. I'll get back on the horse. I'll go. It's when you sit down and you actually think about it. Like I spoke to one of the other guys that I started working with, and he jumped out with a seatbelt on, and
Seen it?
and it was with the Cresco with the automatic door.
Yeah.
So like he's jumped out, he's got the seatbelt on, and he's like, okay, cool, fuck, I'm looking back up. There's another tandem to come. It's okay, he'll cut me off. And he looks up and he just watches that tandem jump out over the top of him. He's like, fuck. Now I'm stuck here with the plane, and you're a pilot, everyone loves flying the Cresco because once everyone's out, you can do the big wing overs and you can dive it around a bit.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I would never do such a thing ever.
Someone that you know, just a friend.
Yeah.
Asking for a friend.
Yeah.
But you know, the pilot's gone to close the door, and the door's not shutting. And he's like, "Why is the door not shutting?" He turns around, and then he sees the seatbelt out, and he's like, you know, and it all comes to these things. And he said to me, he's like, you know, after that I wore 2 hook knives, you know, because he had a hook knife in the back of the harness,
Yeah,
and he had a hook knife on his trousers, and it was like if you
kill it.
if you drop it, obviously it's nice to have a second one.
Sure.
But also the one for him is that he said that because the seatbelt had twisted round, he couldn't get the hook knife mouth into the. Do you know what I mean? Because it was
it's
bigger.
too wide, yeah.
So the second one that he had, it was a wider kind of angle, so you could fit in. But these are things, man. Like, you know, the beers around the drop zone kind of shit. You know, I learned something that day, and I was like, "There's something you never think about until you're swinging around underneath that plane.
Sure.
You've never thought about that." And okay, cool. Where would I have cut it? And that's why I go back to that one with the Y mod. Where would I have cut it? Could I have cut it here? I couldn't have cut it here because it's on a bungee. You know,
Sure.
it's not going to hold 200 kilos on between our chests. You know, I'm not cutting this one. It's not possible. I think it was caught on the webbing bit between the leg straps.
Sure.
You know, I think where it's like properly heavy duty webbing.
Yeah.
That's where it's got it. But more knowledge and train of thought, like,
Sure.
okay, how can I like troubleshoot this?
Sure.
You know, like it's not just a complete shock. You know what I mean? Like,
and I mean, I hate to say it, but the reason that skydiving is, after we've just talked about how you really almost fucking died on that one, how the reason that skydiving is as safe as it is now is because from the very beginning, people have been finding out where shit goes wrong, right?
yeah.
I mean, when I had Bill Booth on, he's talking all the stories about when they were fucking designing tandems, and you know, nobody knew about the possibility of something called a side spin.
Yeah.
What's a side spin? Until a number of people went in on side spins, and they were, you know, jumping drogueless. I can't even fucking imagine deploying a main canopy without a drogue keeping me at normal. But all this is shit is because somebody landed and had the same thoughts you did, like, oh, fuck me, that was bad.
Yeah, I mean, man, I can't. When I see people, because you know, I was that guy jumping turbine drop zone and the Y mod. Oh, you don't need the Y mod. And some guy said to me, I was like, hey man, maybe you should check your Y mod because there's this case where the screw was loose in the door because the seat exits out the caravan, and it
Sure.
got stuck. The Weimar got stuck on the screw, and I was like, "Oh yeah, cool, I'll do it." And then you just kind of like
Sure.
you don't do it consciously. It's not
Right.
like I go, "Well, fuck that guy." Like
Yep.
it just starts to and that was a harsh fucking reality check, and I go, "Cool, man, like you never see me now with my Weimar like fully undone out the
Sure.
back, and it's like." Yeah,
And I stopped chucking drogues basically right before the Y-Mod came into play. And the Y-Mod came into play because I'm sure you've heard the jump.
Yeah, for
well,
sure.
there were a couple. There was one paraplegic guy and then one pear-shaped lady who fell out of the harness.
Yeah,
I can't even fucking imagine.
for sure.
I can't even imagine. So the Y-Mod is a great addition to it, but I don't think I've probably done 100 tandems with it before I hung up my tandem rating.
It's just the experience. Comes with the experience. But the thing was for me that switched that day, and I was like, I'm super glad that it happened to me at that point. And for sure, I'm human still. I make mistakes. I
Sure.
might have an off day or this thing, but like, I still think about what that made me feel like
Sure.
to like how I don't want to ever feel like that again. Okay,
Sure.
cool. Well, I will check my gear. I'll make sure that it's good. I'm always looking at the plane going, what if? What's the what if? Where are we landing? What's going on? What happens if Dean says, jump out, we're fucking going in the water? How close am I to the door? All these things that you really, after you
Sure.
start doing instructing and you're sitting there and you have all these times in the plane and you hear all these horror stories, plane crashes, whatever. Like, these are the split seconds or the split decisions that I'm hoping that, because I think about it all the time now,
Sure.
from that point, thanks for having it, not thanks for having it, whatever. But
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I hope that if I ever come in that situation again, and at least that I've spent some time thinking about it, it just happens by instinct.
Sure.
And I just make a decision, or maybe I don't try and go for that. I try and go for this exit. Or,
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? All these things
Well,
like
you run through all the
Yeah,
scenarios in
yeah,
your
for
head.
sure, man.
I believe me. I mean, sitting up in the cockpit for fucking years, all I do is run through scenarios while listening to music and farting.
yeah.
I'm as basic. How can I kill 20 people on this load, and how do I make sure that doesn't happen? I don't like this song. I shouldn't have had so much beef. That's my whole fucking day.
Yeah.
Don't kill people. Fart.
Yeah, but you'll be doing I hope that you're doing the same thing. Like, okay, I'm at this height. What happens if I have an engine out? Can I make it back? Like
yes.
these things.
All day
These,
long.
and I think I feel a lot more comfortable. There's a respect,
Sure.
with especially after me and Billy Murgatroyd, whatever.
Sure.
But there's a mad respect for because we're basically backseat pilots.
Right.
We don't
Oh, yeah.
actually know how to fly a plane, but we can tell you how to fly a plane. But when you can fly a plane good, you don't understand the amount of respect. Well, you
Sure.
do, because I think we all respect you as a good pilot, man. But there's so much trust, and okay, it's shitty conditions, or we're taking off here, or we have to land. Return to land is the worst. It's bad enough that we can't jump out. Now
Sure.
we have to land.
Sure.
This one place in New Zealand, Queenstown, the runway is a one-way runway.
Right.
So we're flying back towards this 6,500 foot mountain. It's 28 knots, downwind landing. There's no seatbelts in the plane. We're coming over a 300-foot golf course at the end of the runway. So this pilot's doing this mad hooky over the runway. I'm looking at the plane going, oh my God, I've got the candy cam going just in, do you know
Just
what I
in
mean?
case.
Just in case.
Evidence.
Like, you don't know. And then when they just put it down like it's nothing, everyone claps, but,
Yeah.
someone's buying you a beer like
yeah.
that. Do you know what I mean? And it makes me feel much better.
Well, it's kind of funny, though, because sitting up in the front and a number of times being the pilot that's flying in situations roughly like that. And of course, it's just like the tandem instructor that just had a gnarly jump, but you stay nice and calm for the student. I'll never admit to how many times I'm on final joking around with the people that are behind me going, boy, I bet you guys are fucking hating this. Meanwhile, my balls are sucked all the way up inside me, and I'm shitting my pants because I'm like, I don't land people in planes. I fucking land empty, and now it's full on. By the way, I've got, nasty fucking crosswind, all this. Everything's fucking, and of course, it's usually after you've had 3 or 4 days off.
Yeah.
So it's full on. And you get the round of applause, and you're like, why'd you guys get in the plane if you thought it might crash? Meanwhile, all you're thinking is, thank God I didn't crash. It's the same thing, right?
Yeah,
It's just on a slightly bigger scale. You know, I mean, somebody asked me what retiring from flying was like, and the realization that I can only kill me was huge. Like, because I had sold my car, getting ready to move, and I'm like, the worst that I can do to anybody is like badly bruise them at this point. You know, but it used to be going to work, I could kill 20 people easy every 15 minutes.
Yeah,
You know, it's very strange.
for sure, man. And I think that there's either some people that can handle it, and there's some people that doesn't make us feel so good when we're shouting down information and we're turning around and there's just beads of sweat running down the face. No one's really saying much, and you're like, oh, fuck, here we go, man. Here we go. You know, if you turn back and somebody's like, you know, they got the ball by the horns. You know,
it's all
it's infectious, man. It's infectious.
Absolutely. Well, you're like, oh, that person's got it. Okay, I don't need to worry because he's not worried. Which goes back to something you said way at the beginning of the podcast, which was reading your student, and you know, you have to play 30-second psychologist, right? What's going to make this person feel better? Which was why tandems turned out to be my funnest way to jump, because you had to get so good at reading people so very quickly to learn. All right, is the horrible, absolutely we could die during this okay? Or is this the, look, I do this for a living. You know, you got to figure that out really quickly. And it's fucking fun.
Yeah, it definitely is fun, man.
It's a good time. Fun. But now, aside from that, you're an instructor, you take tandems, you do all that, but you still have your passion for the sport. So 100%. Where is that taking you?
I'm trying to fly in the tunnel a lot, you know.
What do you dream competition stuff? I mean, are we?
Yeah, like if I feel like I'm at a level where I'm competitive, or maybe it's not even just about the competitive thing. If the right kind of people, I think it's if I'm going to spend that amount of time with people, I'd like to at least like the people. I'd rather be in a team with my mates, than be in a team with amazing skydivers and just them all be shit cunts, you know. So I'm at a good place right now, trying to like work my way in, but. You know, well, when I came last season, everyone was kind of already in a team. They're already like either gods, the guys that are trying to like progress up, which I would like to tag onto the back of. You know, you always want to be the worst guy in the skydive, you know, to take the most out of it. You know, like the guys that I want to tag on, they already had a team. So like right now, it's just the last year was a really good year, and everyone upskilled lots, and we've been flying lots. And obviously, when you on the doorstep of the 32-foot tunnel, then you don't just need 3 people that can fly. You can have 10 people that go in and fly.
It's a big fucking tunnel.
Yeah,
man.
It's insane.
Every time I look at that tunnel, all I think is I can get a lot of speed before I hit that wall.
Yeah, and I was my philosophy was that, you know, that you can have time to fix it before you hit the wall. And then somebody burbled me and I hit the wall, and I was like, yeah, there's just too much space that, you know, like I had no control and just flew straight into it. And
it's a very humbling thing learning how to fly well in the tunnel.
Yeah, it's a very humbling thing when you smack the wall and you go, shit, that's hard.
Yeah, right. I had a guy took me into the Paraclete tunnel many years ago, and I misread the signal that he was giving me, and I thought he was trying to tell me to do one thing and not the other, and what I did was basically rocket up into the wall like 20 feet higher than he wanted me to be, and of course came back down to the most horrified look on his face and me going, oh, that wasn't fucking fun. I'm sure that's not what you meant for me to do.
No, of course not.
And that was all coming from being an OG tunnel instructor where you had to wear the big balloon suits. I mean, I've got hundreds of hours in a tunnel. None of it means shit in a modern tunnel. Nothing.
Are you flown in that one?
Yeah, so I started in the Vegas tunnel. I was an instructor there.
But have you flown in the...
Oh, yeah, I've flown in the big tunnels as well. And, I mean, I can...
You can hang.
Yeah, I can sit fly all day long, and I can get off the net on my head, but no transitions, none of that shit.
No transitions.
Well, and I'm broken and old. And
dude. We basically ended Andrew Ford's career. You've had him on. He is a legend. He will always be a legend in my eyes. And if you're listening to this, Fordy, mate, we're sorry that we ended your tunnel career But we were wanting to go and fly, and we were budding, and you get to a certain level where you want to try and learn more things. Like we were trying to learn pancakes or something, where you're making rounds and you're flipping them. Like you get to a level where you can't do them, but you want to do them, so you're just gonna have to. You just have to go for it. Sure. Like, you can only baby it so much. You know what I mean? And I think we were kind of running that kind of dangerous line. And he was flying with us, and it was like a load of big dudes, like 90 kilo plus dudes, and he's not so 90 kilos.
Right.
And I think he kind of caught a bit of a burble and a knock, and he wanged out and hit the wall, and that was him. I'd never seen him flown in a tunnel ever again.
Poor son of a bitch.
So sorry, 40, mate, if we ended that, cut that career short.
Well, I mean, I think he and I are close to the same age, so it just hurts getting out of bed anymore.
Yeah. Well, man, like he's a machine, man, still going full power.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Mad respect for that.
Absolutely. Well, one thing that I will say about skydivers is we've got a lot of longevity. I mean, you learn to deal with a lot more pain than I think the average person does. Like what I consider to be a slight annoyance, someone else would be going to the hospital for. And I think you just get that because you just fucking sore all the time. We beat the shit out of ourselves.
Yeah.
It's choices we make.
Yeah.
I've just reached the age where I'm starting to have to pay the bills that I fucking put on the credit card 20 years ago, right?
So what you're saying is I need a credit card.
Yeah. So, especially coming from the UK, what advice do you have for the people coming up and just getting started, or especially because, and of course I didn't realize you went through the NZ school.
Yeah.
For people that are doing that, that are coming up and just getting started, what advice do you have? What steps did you take? What should they avoid?
In what sense? Do you mean just for people that want to do it for fun, or people that, budding instructors?
Both. I just want to go be a fun jumper. How do I, be an active fun jumper, or the I want to be, I'm in the life.
Like, I suppose for every person, it just depends on finding somewhere where you're comfortable.
Sure.
That when you're comfortable and you want to have fun, and it makes you want to do it more. If you don't want to do it and you're at a drop zone that you don't really get along with, then I wouldn't say just give it up. Maybe try a different drop zone.
Sure.
Different group of people. Like the UK seems pretty cool. Like the fact that they have the uni teams, so people going to uni.
Sure. And
they have their own gear, their own stuff. So you got all these uni people coming every weekend. Like young people want to like hang out, drinks, and mad social scene. So that's the kind of your scene that you want. If you're middle aged, then you want to go something else. But just a vibe. Each drop zone has a vibe. Don't just take the one that you learn at as the be all end all.
Sure.
Because I feel like too many people don't find that comfortable place and don't find their slot into what they want. And it's easy for them to bin it off.
Sure.
So
well, it's funny that so many of the, I mean, obviously, being in the sport for a long time, I've worked with and consistently worked with lots of people from the UK. Huge UK presence in skydiving worldwide. None of them in the UK.
Yeah. Wow.
So all the Brits and Irishmen and Frenchmen, all these European skydivers aren't, they represent there and they go there and jump, but they spend most of their time abroad.
But that was the biggest thing about being an instructor, man, and that was, it's a ticket to travel. You've got your certain amount of jumps, whatever, the 1,000 jumps, tandems is the magic number. Once you've got that, you can basically apply a job.
Sure.
Just off the numbers, and then obviously, if you're a good cunt and you got good references, which you try and it's who you know, not like.
It becomes
what you know. Like it's. I think a personal reference gets you a very long way, man. From somebody that's like respected or I'd like to put 40 down on my reference if anyone. Like he's the kind of guy who knows a lot of people. Do you know what I mean? That kind of thing goes a long way. You get these things. I forgot the question.
No, you pretty much hit it. That's just basically find your vibe.
Yeah, find your vibe, man. 100%.
Awesome. I mean, Honestly, you can take the sport any direction. There are a million different directions you want. You can focus in on just being an instructor. You can be an instructor that wants to compete. You can just be a fun jumper, a weekend warrior. I mean, it's just kind of pick what you want to do for sure.
1,000,000%. And what's cool about the sport is it has some longevity to it. For me, anyway, like, you can spend as much time on one discipline and you feel like you're getting burnt out, and then there's a whole other discipline that you've not even scratched the surface on. And yeah, it's you're never gonna get. Someone explained it to me pretty good. It's like, imagine an infinite level skyscraper and you're just at level 1, and when you hit the stairs you feel like it's going to nowhere, and then you turn a corner and then now you can see level 2. You know what I mean? Like, you're walking away, you've got no idea, and then oh shit, there's level 2, and you get to level 2 and you, oh shit, now it's all the way away from you again, and then you get to level 3, and that is an endless cycle, man.
Well, to reiterate something you said earlier, as soon as you don't have respect for it, or as soon as you think you don't have anything left to learn, fucking take up golf.
Yeah.
Stop. As soon as you know it all, you've got the wrong attitude.
Yeah, golf's not for me, though, man.
Yeah, fair enough.
So I was like, man, I spend all my time looking for my shit. I don't need to go play a sport where I spend my time looking for my fucking shit.
And dude, if you're a full-time skydiver, you can't afford to go play golf anyway. Jamie, cheers, man.
Thank you very much for having me.
Fantastic talk. I'm going to have to get the other 2 horror stories out of you next time around.
Yeah, for sure, dude.
Take care. And there you have it. Another episode of Lunatic Fringe Into the Void, brought to you as always by, and say it with me, fuck yeah, NZ Aerosports. Head to nzaerosports.com. By Pussfoot. That's right, head to pussfoot.com, the extreme sports collective, and check out everything they've got to offer. By summitparachutesystems.com. Jarrett Martin and the family cranking out amazing pilot rigs, as well as incredible rigging courses. And now joining the Lunatic team, it's the one and only Tony Suits. You know him, you love him. Head to tonysuit.com. Check out all the amazing standards, as well as the new incredible signature line they've got going on. And as for us, the Lunatic Fringe is now on YouTube. That's right, you're going to have the chance to put faces to the audio by heading to youtube.com and looking up the Lunatic Fringe podcast. It's easy. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, check out all the amazing videos from the previous guests that we've had, as well as new and upcoming interviews on video. As always, I am the fucking pilot. Head to thefuckingpilot.net or theprincesspilot.com. Thanks for joining. We'll see you next time around.
Thank you.